saw some fireflies. When they howl, how to shine, shine, shine. I can see them, yeah, under the pine. The dawn hesitate, yeah, your love. One way, ooh, ooh, baby, I love the way every day. I wanna tell you I love the way.
There's a local way.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Miguel and Lauren's marriage celebration. I know many of you have traveled from far across the United States in order to be here today to share in our ceremony here. I'd like to thank you all for coming. I think it says something about this relationship in front of us that drew so many of you here today and kind of brought you into their gravity, into their orbit. And I promise that is the last space pun. Lauren and Miguel, we know that love is best understood as an act and not a feeling, not a condition. This is a lesson we learn from experience, growing up as children now into adulthood. You stand today to promise each other love and fidelity. And I'd like to take a small moment of the ceremony to talk about those two things. Marriage seems to me to be the act of loving one another, choosing to do so on a daily basis. It resides in the small, intimate moments as much as it resides in the ceremony here today. I'd like to share with you a quote from the poet Wendell Berry. "The ways of life change only in living, and we always have a choice in how we live and how we love." Love is a tangible thing. It's seen in your daily choice to cherish it and love one another. Choose to love each other every day. As we grow, the world will demand more of you, more of your time, more of your attention, more of your professional expertise. Make the small choice every day to devote a little bit of your time, a little bit of your attention, and a little bit of your expertise to one another. The second part of a marriage is fidelity. Another quote from Wendell Berry. "What your marriage offers is the possibility of moments when what we have and what we desire are one and the same. Such a convergence obviously cannot be continuous. No relationship can continue very long at its highest emotional pitch. But fidelity prepares us for the return to those moments when we can find that which we long for best: communion, union, and atonement. Marriage is at its heart a relationship defined by a promise. Today you promise not only to be true to each other, but to be true for each other. A source when everything else is up in the air, at times of doubt and uncertainty." I'll read you just one last quote before I get out of the way here. "It is possible to imagine marriage as a joyous human bond, endlessly renewable and renewing, again and again, rejoining memory, passion, and hope." Can we please have the rings? And Lauren, if you'd like to read your vows.
We put them on our phones so we could see them. Okay. Miguel, when we met, I was 18 years old, if you can believe it, and I absolutely was not thinking about our wedding day 10 years later. I was, however, extremely interested in this funny, nerdy guy who not only accepted my sarcastic quips, but threw more right back at me. I knew right away that you were different, aside from you apparently speaking Spanish to me at one point. You dared to tell an extremely risky joke that paid off well. It was so disarming to be treated with such familiarity so quickly, and I immediately knew I wanted to see you again. Luckily, we were on spring break, and I got to see you a lot over the next few days, getting to know you more, until we finally exchanged phone numbers and AOL instant message screen names. After a summer of exchanging messages, I was waiting for that moment you would ask me out on a real date, which never seemed to come, so I decided to take the initiative and ask me out for you. And that seemed to pay off fairly well, too. All of these early interactions paved the way for a relationship with realistic expectations in which neither of us held each other on a pedestal. That was made pretty clear when you did formally ask me out, but with the caveat that we keep it casual. Well, after countless trips between La Crosse and Madison, seeing over a dozen comedians together, moving halfway across the country, a dog, a telescope, and a decade later, I think we can safely say that part of the relationship didn't work out, and I hope you're okay with that. Even though we didn't wind up keeping things super cash, I think what we wound up instead with is pretty amazing. I found someone who can put up with me watching the same show endlessly, and you found someone who can put up with you watching or playing sports on 3 separate screens at one time. But kidding aside, I love who we are together. As we both said before, we take turns taking care of each other when we both need it. You pick me up when school is getting tough, and I pick you up when work is getting challenging. I know we're not the type to make flowery declarations of unconditional love and undying promises, but I do promise a few things. I will share a life full of laughter with you as we continue to knock comedians off of our bucket list. I will hike new trails with you whenever we actually remember to go. I will travel the world with you and find new adventures. I will stare up at the stars and ask you questions about them all. I will tell you I love you almost as often as I tell Romeo. But I will love you more each day as I have for the last 10 years.
And then Miguel.
Lauren, I'm marrying you today for so many reasons, but I'm going to share just a few so that we can all get to the bar. I'm marrying you because I've never met anyone else with a sense of humor quite like yours. We bonded over the comedians that we love and the shows that we watch, but more than that, you make me laugh every day, and you bring humor to every conversation that we have. I'm marrying you because you were confident and comfortable enough to give me crap humorously from our very first day together, because that's the kind of strong personality that you have. I'm marrying you because you're a little weird, and together we can do weird things. Like have 2 TVs in our living room, or get married in a museum, or do our first dance to something very non-traditional. I'm marrying you because after 9 years together, it still warms my heart when we hold hands, or hug, or kiss. I'm marrying you because with you, I can always be myself, and I can always live the life that I want. And you embrace and encourage that, and you never limit me, even when you probably should. You've endured so much soccer, and other sports, and video games. And there was even one time, earlier this year, when you called under our TV so that you wouldn't interrupt the dumb, meaningless video game that I was playing at the time. And I thought, what did I do to deserve this woman? If we weren't already engaged, I think I would have dropped on one knee right at that moment. I'm marrying you because you're extremely passionate in your opinions, oftentimes aggressively so. But when it comes to me and any tensions that might come up between us, you have nothing but tenderness and forgiveness every single time. So what I'm saying is that I'm marrying you because I love who you are, and I love what a good friend you are. So I promise this for our marriage. I promise to keep our home warm and full of laughter. I promise to get us out of that home often to enjoy the whole world while we can. I promise that even as we mature, we'll always be a little weird. I promise that whatever you want to pursue in life, I will metaphorically crawl under the TV to help you out. And most of all, I promise that you will feel my love every day for the rest of our lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you all for the first time as married couple, Miguel and Lauren. I invite you to share your first kiss as married couple.